Your partner in your mobile phone company in Germany ended up with T-Mobile. Is that right?
Not only that. So René's dream always was, when I met him, to become a board member of a German DAX 100 company. And yes, I successfully obstructed him to ever finish his studies at university. And I had a few arguments with him about it. But I enabled him in one way or the other to pursue his dream and have the credibility in a new exponentially growing industry to first join T-Mobile, and he became the CEO and chairman of Deutsche Telekom. So he was in charge of 200-something thousand people for a while, and that's it right now. He's, I think, the co-head of Pincus, one of the largest, or one of the big private equity firms. So this is what he's doing right now. But he always followed the corporate world perspective. He's now in many supervisory boards, including Airbus, so this European competitor of Boeing. And he approaches that, and he's credited with a very customer-centric operating system. And guess where he got that from? So this was part of the way how we operated. We always thought about how do we make sure people love what we do, come back. So as an example, in the first generations of Motorola phones, the idea of programming the first or your most important phone numbers was a nightmare. It was a nightmare, literally a nightmare. So, and the most people came with a list printed out by their secretary or photocopied by the secretary, and they came and we offered that for free as a service, which we would always do. So I had our technicians be humble and kind and say, yes, I am delighted to put all the numbers into your phone. And at that time, whenever you get a software update, you not only have to pay for the software update, no, but all the other numbers were deleted. So people were kind of in shock. So what we did logically was sit there and program all this, whatever up to 100 numbers was the original generation of mobile phones at the time, and put it into the phone. And so these small details, people appreciated. They knew they can always come back. Even if they made a mistake and deleted all their numbers, they could always come back and we would do it again. We had good coffee. And they appreciate the combination of people who enjoy helping them and offering them a good coffee and programming their mobile phones. And something as simple as saving all the numbers was crucial for many, many people to operate. It's and small details, as you know.
Yes. And this is what he carries forward into the big corporate world now.
He did that. He, I think, broke records where Deutsche Telekom became I think, won a few customer care awards at the time when he was there. So he was credited with turning Deutsche Telekom around and actually becoming a former state-owned company with a really, really good customer care experience. Yeah, so their call center the waiting line for incoming phone calls dropped by dramatic numbers. I forgot the numbers, but they won literally awards for being so customer-centric. And I'm sure he does the same thing now. So wherever he goes, that's a mindset which you don't lose. Yeah, so you always come up with innovative solutions. And I'm sure that part of his training or having been part of the exposure at the time was always to come up with something and look at things slightly differently. And this is for me, it's a natural process, so I cannot do the opposite. And so this is something which allows me to look at neighborhoods, look at Europe, look at the Balkan area, where I was for some family reasons. And then I realized, wow, what's possible? There are some countries who lose all their young people, and they have significant problem with attracting people. And I said, you know what, you need remote workers. And now we can see now that 70% of the people do not want again to go back full-time to an office. And even a higher number would love to work from another country. And Europe is now putting the legislation into place where this works. And for employed people, their social insurances and their unemployment insurance and their health insurance, everything is taken care of. But they can work maybe 6 months from Germany, 6 months from the Mediterranean. So they can combine those things. This is the future.
Well, and I'm going to drag you back to T-Mobile for a second, because sure, I'm in the United States. But what's interesting on my downloads on the audio podcast, Andreas, is that only about 75, 80% are in U.S. And I don't know why or, how the word got out. But number 2 and 3 switching places is Germany and France. Mm-hmm. And then on down. So not everyone's going to know who T-Mobile is, but for the United States listener, that company has a particular color that everybody knows as its trademark. And I remember you telling me the significance of that. Do you mind sharing?
Yeah, you know what it was? Yeah, sure. It's we always had a little bit of a different approach. So I went to a girls' school. Maybe that's part of the explanation. So I was sent to a girls' school. So we were 8 boys and around 1,000 girls. So I was very early exposed to a collaborative attitude and a lot of feminine features, and I really enjoyed it. And this hasn't changed until today. So I still believe collaboration is the next normal. And I never understood why you would compete with people. I would rather collaborate. Yeah, it didn't go well with my school director because he didn't understand why I would collaborate during exams. But I always thought it's part of teamwork. So to make a long story short, we came up with smiling phones with pink. We used pink for stuff because I believe pink is a great color to reflect energy. And I found it really powerful. And Deutsche Telekom, yes, they turned it into magenta. And I was once assigned to help them with international projects. And this included actually going through the entire branding portfolio and figuring out that at the time that over close to 30 brands internally, highly confusing. And so if you look at it from today's perspective, they have one pink magenta, or magenta they call it. I call it pink tea, and it works really, really well. Has a high brand recognition.
This has been Jeff Stearns, Connected Through Cars.